Dodgers have had a lot of great prospects in their farm system for years, but the one young pitcher that you kept hearing about years and years ago was Walker Buehler. He's now been a Dodger for several years, but now the nation's finally catching up to him. He has had minimum 5 starts, the highest strikeout ratio in the history of playoff baseball. That counts like Babe Ruth and stuff. He can throw really hard. He is one of the great young Dodgers in that 25, 26, 27-year-old range. He was also great at Vanderbilt a few years ago, won a championship there. I remember watching that on TV, and Walker Buehler of the world champion Dodgers now joining us live, the All-Star. So it's interesting. They always talk about analytics, and I like analytics. But I always say I also like manalytics, which is in big postseason games, I'm not going to walk up to Blake Snell or Walker Buehler and say, yeah, my data book says I've got to get rid of you. Were you even a little surprised? Because Blake, everybody knows Blake is just a monster, throws filthy stuff. Were you surprised Tampa took him out?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a little bit of surprise. You know, the guy was rolling pretty good, and our offense was having kind of a tough time with him there for a while. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, they thought that was the best decision for their team, and that's fine. And, you know, whoever they brought in after that, we got lucky and scored some runs and won the game. So, obviously he's a fun guy to watch, but we weren't too upset that he got out of there.
By the way, Walker, if you were rolling and the 6th inning Dave Roberts came up and you gave up a double and he said, young man, you got to go. Have you ever pushed back at least and said, no, I feel good. I hit it off the hands. Have you ever argued with a manager who comes up and says, I got to take you out?
Yeah, I for sure have. I think maybe to a fault a little bit at times, but you know, I think we're all competitive, and you probably wouldn't be there without that. So, no, you want to stay in every game and throw as long as you can, but you know, at the end of the day, the organization usually has your best interests in mind and the best interest of the team. But yeah, you definitely can get a little angry when they try and take the ball from you.
You guys have been a really good team for years. 7 straight division titles, I think. But Mookie Betts, it wasn't like you couldn't get to a World Series without him. It's not like you couldn't win a division without him. But when they brought Mookie over, when was the first game or two that you saw Mookie Betts and went, okay, this is like he is juice. He is juice. I mean, like, when did it really pop for you that, wow, he just adds something we don't have?
Yeah, you know, he's a guy obviously we had some familiarity with playing Boston in the World Series a couple years ago, and you know, he's just a special baseball player. I think the biggest thing for us, or the first thing I can kind of remember, was we played in Arizona and early in the year, and there was a ball kind of in the corner like the one he just hit on there, and he caught it and threw the guy out at third, and we're like, oh, like this is kind of different, you know. But we had Cody make his MVP run and made a lot of plays like that last year. So to watch those two guys now, you know, last year was Cody and this year was Mookie that was doing stuff every day that we just didn't really comprehend at the time, but we're glad to have him on our side.
Listen, when you were coming up in the Dodgers organization, you, I'm sure, watched Clayton Kershaw, who is really this generation's Sandy Koufax. And he's just a classy guy, kind of a team leader. When they won the other night and you watched Clayton Kershaw and he pointed to the sky, I mean, we were on the set here. It's emotional. I mean, was there a sense for you, Walker, that you were not just pitching for the Dodgers, but you were pitching for Clayton? The organization felt like we got to win this thing. Like we've got one of the great players in league history. Did you sense that at all?
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing is obviously whatever's been written and said about him in the playoffs. Kershaw's been unbelievable in this game for a long time. So, you know, I think it's hard to sit there and watch a guy put in the time and effort like we all know he does, and then people kind of say things like that about him all the time. And, you know, he was unbelievable for us, has been for a long time, but especially in this playoff. So, you know, we're definitely thrilled that he was a huge part of this and to kind of get it done for him. Yeah, you can see it there. But no, it was a really cool deal for us.
It's so interesting to watch all you professional athletes, and you're playing in no fans, and it thinks to I'm like, oh my God, the Dodgers finally win it, and the Dodger fans aren't there. Is it easier to pitch because no fans, no distraction? You didn't have to travel every third night, get on a plane. I could make an argument if I'm a pitcher. I love the idea of waking up in the same city every night and not having to travel. Were there any advantages to playing at the same place?
Yeah, I think we were pretty fortunate to start in Dallas and stay there the whole time. I think we did a good job of making that place kind of our home for a little while, and that's all well and good. But at the same time, we had 11,000 fans during the playoffs, so that was the biggest games of the year. Is the first time you saw a fan in the stands, which was kind of different, but it was nice. I think you could feel kind of a little bit more energy and things like that we hadn't had all year. So we enjoyed that new ballpark, but we're glad to be done there and bring the trophy home and start playing at our place again.
It's a very young baseball team. There's no reason this team can't win for 7 years. But when you win championships, Walker Buehler joining us, it's very common that, you win a championship, you don't quite have that push, that drive. How do the Dodgers maintain the edge now that you've won the ring, now that you are champs, now everywhere you go in town, everybody knows who Walker Buehler and Corey Seager? Is that a little bit of a challenge?
I think normally, I think that is an understandable thing. Obviously, you go through a season and then you play longer than anyone, so your off season is shorter than everyone else except for one other team, right? But I think for us doing it in a season like we did, where it's 60 games, I don't think was quite as taxing as maybe 162 games would be. Obviously, this playoff stuff is about as tough as it gets, regardless of how many games you played, just mentally more than anything. But I think all of us want to keep winning and we want to keep doing well. So. I'm not too worried about it. Also, I think the thing that people don't talk about is there's a lot of guys that are with us that weren't on a roster that are going to make an impact for us next year that want to be in it in a different way. So, I think everybody's going to take a little while and kind of take a breather, but then get back at it.
Hey, listen, I know this is a tough question for you, but Justin Turner's a great player. Everybody loves Justin. He kind of defines the whole Dodger thing. You find out COVID, he comes on the field, there's not a mask, people freak out, people are angry at him. Is there any clarity here? Are Dodger players upset with him? Where does that stand today?
No, I think obviously this stuff's kind of above my pay grade. We're just out there to try and win. But, we saw him come off the field. You kind of hear what happens. And he's been such a big part of our culture and our team for so long. I think it's hard to say, you can't come out on the field and take a picture with the trophy with his wife and his teammates and things like that. So, I know he's symptom free and feeling good. And I think that's the biggest, most important thing. And, we're all through the country kind of dealing with this thing, and it just so happens that it happened to us during Game 6 of the World Series. But, we held up the trophy, and we'll deal with the rest after that.
By the way, like a pitcher, when you throw all the innings you do, this is kind of a dorky sports guy question. Do you not pick up a baseball for 2 months? Like, how much your arm, when you go for a long run in the postseason, I know it was a shorter season, but will you just not pick up a baseball for 5 weeks?
Typically, I take about a month off. I think this year I'll probably take a little bit less just because I'm traditionally kind of a slow starter. So kind of give myself a little more time. But, yeah, I think most guys it's 2 weeks to a month. And, I've kind of abused that month in the past. But, yeah, we'll probably shorten it up a little bit this year.
Could not be happier for you. An amazing organization. They build it the right way, folks. It's farm system. They're patient. They develop their stars. They dabble in free agency, but it's built the right way. Walker, you're going to have already an amazing career. Congrats. Happy for you. And go get another ring. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Walker Buehler, the World Series champ, 4 seasons in Major League Baseball, now an all-star, and he is Joey and I were talking about this the other day. The Dodgers farm system is so good. Virtually everybody they bring up not only is good, they're good immediately. So they have spent a lot of money. Like most of these big market teams, you can go buy players. It's like Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Oakland. They need farm systems. The Dodgers actually have a great farm system, and then they just occasionally supplement it, which is really the right way to do it, with the occasional Mookie Betts. But they could have had Machado long-term, Bryce Harper. They passed on a lot. Zach Greinke, they're like, nope. They paid Kershaw, which you had to, because when they wrote that contract, he was unbelievable. And they paid for Mookie Betts, who, like Mike Trout, if he's on the market, then you would just go get him. Like Mookie and Mike Trout, you just go. Those are the 10-year contracts that if you're in a big city and can afford it, then you just go get them.
Well, that's why it feels like a really special World Series. On top of everything that they had to go through this year, the Dodgers really have had to endure a lot to get to this World Series.
Yeah.
So it's really special.
Good stuff. By the way, if you're not ready to give up, want to be more energized, strong, driven, try mdriveformen.com. Don't let age beat you. Visit mdriveformen.com today. So tomorrow, Joy is going to do a costume, and she's a little apprehensive because she thinks it won't be professional. And my thing is, girl, go cray. So I think you should go all for it.
All right.
And by the way, I'm not going to dress up.
Yeah, but that's not your thing.
That's not exactly. It's not my thing. I'm going to dress up as a seasoned veteran local news anchor.
What's your name? What's
my name is Jack Danger, and my hair's made of wood. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.